participation also researching and developing a valve in India, a transcatheter heart valve in India. I would say a major step forward for Make in India. Have you had experience? And recently, I think you did a trial of one of the valves which has been researched and developed in India.
Yes.
An important study, as they would say. Tell us more about this.
Well, it is called the landmark trial, and it is a landmark, I would say. It is a valve you first used in India. It is produced in India, developed. The whole engineering, the whole innovation has gone into this valve, and it was here in India. And then, in a very bold step, this valve was put up to the test. It was compared against the existing two valves that have all the evidence behind them. I've talked about evidence creation, and that's these two systems. One system where the valve expands itself once it's released, and the other system where the valve is expanded by a balloon. And those two were compared to the Indian valve, the Myval THV series, and 700 plus patients in European countries and New Zealand. We found that at 30 days, and that's safety and effectiveness in trial speak, right? At 30 days, these valves were equivalent. They were as good in terms of effectiveness and safety as the valves that are commonly used and that have the evidence of good outcomes. On top of that, I call it the icing on the cake, this is the new development, and as I said, a lot of engineering has gone into it, and as a result of that, they produce a more effective opening of the valve than the others. So that was nice to see.
So it's a landmark day, I'd say, for India, that an Indian researched and developed valve is put through scientific rigors of a very meticulous prospective trial in the Western world at multiple centers in multiple countries, and then the data shows that it's as good as the conventionally used valves, which have been around for a long period of time. So I think it's certainly a stamp which I would say.
Absolutely.
And what
we can be proud of, and we actually published it in the Lancet, which is medical journal, which also means the whole data, everything has been vigorously scrutinized and stands up to all the tests. So this is good data, a good trial with a fantastic outcome for this new series. Now, let me ask you, what does that mean for India, for the Indian cardiology and the community to have, this innovation coming out of India into the clinical practice?
Yeah, that's very important, because we have a number of advantages now. Knowing that the valve is as good, at least in the shorter term, as some of the valves which we've been traditionally using for the last many years of the Western world. And for us, it becomes, and luckily it's been around for us for the last 6 years, last 7 years, I would say, and has been an integral part of our usage. Our patients have benefited from it over the years, but now with this stamp of a prospective randomized trial done in the West, showing it comparable to some of the best of the world, now we know that we've got quality with us, we've got affordability with us. After all, it's made in India, and therefore for India for the first, and then for the rest of the world. So it's got affordability, we have accessibility, because now the government has approved it for us as a reimbursable technique. And finally, with affordability, accessibility and availability with quality, I think it means a lot for our Make in India initiative. I think India needs such R&Ds which are not just meticulous, but also meet the global standards, whereby anything that we create is also for the Indian patients so that they have the best quality, but also transforms, supports the same for across the world. So I think for us, it's a great step forward for Indian device companies, for our R&Ds, for our engineers, and also for our medical fraternity, all combined together to create such a valve in India for the rest. So it has numerous, and after all, such trials encourage our engineers, encourage our doctors to do better and better as time goes on and become also the powerhouse, not just for our patients, but from globally as well.
I think the enthusiasm is visible, right? Even if you go to the R&D department.
We're the principal investigator of one of the very scientific, prospective, randomized study on one of the Indian transcatheter heart valve, the Myval, which was compared to the contemporary, commonly used devices of the West. Mm-hmm. And this, I think, was an important study. It had all the scientific rigors. Tell us more about this study, because it got published in The Lancet, which is one of the most prestigious journals of the world.
It is. It is a landmark for the company, for the valve, for India. I think it's the landmark trial. So what we did is we took the Myval THV series that is from Meril Life Sciences, innovative development from India. This valve was compared in a randomized fashion. That is, we used both this valve and the contemporary valves that are in use and that have the evidence, and we compared them one-to-one in over 700 patients. The result, the new valve from Meril is as efficient, as safe as the others. As a bit of the icing on the cake, it also produces a larger opening, which is the effect that you want, a larger opening than the comparable other balloon expandable valve. So this was an exciting trial. We have the 30 days now. We are pretty certain that these results will translate in long-term benefits, but of course we have to wait for the long term.